Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I Overreacting, and it's by user Jesus what the F man. Am I overreacting? Girlfriend, female 26, broke up with me because I, male 24, forgot her birthday. I've been dating Valerie for about 2 years. We got together through a dating app in mid-January of 2024 and have been inseparable ever since. Even when we had to spend weeks apart because of school, it always felt like we were going through everything side by side. Never argued once. Every serious talk was as communicative and productive as I've ever experienced. She wasn't just the girl I loved, but arguably, more important to me, the best friend I ever made. I haven't been able to see her yet in 2026 because I got into a pretty serious car accident. I'm ultimately fine, but let's just say I'm gonna be doing physical therapy for the next couple months. This obviously threw a wrench into a lot of our plans, meaning she would need to be the one making a trip from her campus all the way to where I live, which is about a 4-hour round trip. She told me her New Year's resolution was to cut back on screen time. I thought it was a great idea, so I asked her if it'd be cool if instead of texting, I give her a call a few times a day. She said that was totally fine, at least I thought. It was going extremely well. It continued like that for a while. Then it was her birthday, so I called her right when I woke up, around 10 a.m., to wish her happy birthday. However, she was at work, which I expected, so I left her a lengthy voicemail starting with "Happy birthday" and then devolving into pretty much detailing the crap we usually talk about. Now, here's where I think I effed up. I've never left her a voicemail before, so maybe she didn't know to expect it, and the voicemail cut off at the end and I didn't get to end it. So maybe it's possible it didn't go through? But regardless, at around 2 p.m., she messaged me asking to break up. Actually, more like telling me we were broken up. She said that she was willing to talk about it over the phone, but decided it wasn't worth it since I forgot her birthday, leading her to dumping me over text. Now, don't get me wrong, me forgetting her birthday wasn't the reason she broke up with me. In fact, she cited her mental health as a reason she needed to back up and end the relationship, which is entirely valid. I accept her decision. It just kills me inside that I didn't get to have a talk with her for a reason that wasn't even accurate. I have no idea why she didn't see or get my voicemail, but I'm hating myself just wishing I had texted her happy birthday instead. I only wanted to respect her wish to be on her phone less. This may be entitled of me to expect, but I'd want my long-term partner to at least talk with me instead of blocking me after an "it's not you, it's me." But if she really did think I forgot her birthday, then I don't know. Maybe there's a valid reason? The only thing is everything before this was absolutely fine. When I say there was nothing building up that made me expect this, I mean there's absolutely nothing that could have made me think there was an underlying issue. She never communicated anything, which is atypical for us, and she would always come to me and talk if there was an issue. My brother recently got married, and it made us want to have a talk around that time about what we both expect from this relationship, whether or not she'd want to get married, whether that's a possibility for this relationship, etc. You know, normal crap to bring up this far into a relationship. And the weirdest part is that it went really well. It was one of the most healthy and constructive decisions and spanned at least an hour, culminating in us being on the same page about marriage, even if it would be a ways down the road. I genuinely don't understand how it went from us legitimately coming to the conclusion that we'd want to be married to each other someday to a breakup over text so soon. She said I didn't do anything wrong, but I can't help but feel guilty that I didn't earn that talk with her, and it kills me inside that she thinks I would forget her birthday. I can accept ending our relationship, but the manner in which she did it and the reason why she did it that way, I can't help but feel like I need her to know that I would never forget something like that and hurt her in that way. But disrespecting her space over what is essentially a misunderstanding feels wrong, even if I give it time. Actually, I did wish you happy birthday. It's irrelevant, all things considered. I still really care about her and want her to be well, and I'm obviously not going to blow up her phone or give her crap. So am I overreacting for feeling hurt that she would end a long-term relationship over text? No, OP, I don't think you're overreacting. I think it's absolutely real and valid to be hurt about somebody ending a 2-year relationship where you guys had discussed marriage, future plans, and all that over text using the excuse of you forgot my birthday, but it's really mental health issues. Maybe you guys just didn't really communicate like you thought you did, or maybe you were the one properly communicating and she was just holding everything back and just saying yes to everything you were saying. The only thing I would say you could do is maybe just send her an email. Not asking to get back together or anything like that, but actually expressing what you've expressed in this post. That you really care about her, that you wish her well, that you didn't forget her birthday, and that you wished she'd given you an opportunity to talk about it. And even though it's gonna hurt like hell, you need to start moving on if she doesn't want anything to do with you. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. AbleTrack3680 says, not overreacting. There's zero reason to break up with someone over text, especially without reason. A year is a long relationship and usually means serious business. I'm sorry you weren't able to get your closure that you deserved. We will never know her real reason for ending things, but if anything, it shows more about her character than you. You didn't do anything wrong. Maybe she did get the voicemail, maybe she didn't. You can't change the past, only move forward. Keep your head up, King. Key Variation 5453 says, the relationship probably wasn't as preachy keen for her as it seemed to you. And she used this as an excuse to break up. Like you said, she also cited mental health as a contributing factor to the breakup also. I can't imagine the pain you are feeling when you imagine and talk about building a life with someone and they treat you like this. But also, you do not deserve to be broken up with over text. She's not the one, unfortunately, and I hope that you find your soulmate, not overreacting because your feelings are valid. Breakup texts suck. And Smart Bumblebee 3553 says, sorry this happened to you, not overreacting. It's totally valid to be confused and hurt at the abrupt way your relationship ended. I think the other commenters left you sound advice. For whatever reason, she was done, and it is very possible that it's a her thing and not a you issue. I've ended relationships because I had just reached a point where I needed to be treated on my own. Keep your head up and take it at her word that you didn't do anything wrong. Save your mental health and move on. OP's edit to answer some questions. 1. Is that all you did for her birthday? A voicemail? No. Valerie and I had to reschedule my visit after my injury. She was aware that I had a ton planned for her the week after her birthday when I was in town. She expressed excitement for this and reassured me multiple times even after my multiple "I'm sorry I can't see you sooner" and "does it really not bother you that I had to reschedule our trip?" inquiries. Instead, she expressed excitement about the fact that she'd be able to spend quality time with her best friend, her roommate, female 27. She was always agreeable, sometimes almost to a ridiculous degree, but she always stood up for herself in the past whenever she truly felt strongly about something. That's why I'm a bit confused by the switch-up. 2. Since you knew you couldn't see her the day of, why didn't you deliver something, like flowers? Not only did I consider that, but I've even offered. She said she didn't want me to do that and that I should rest and save my money for medical bills after the accident and just give her the presents I already had prepared in person, since she preferred stuff like that to be when we're together. 3. Why not just text her afterwards, just in case? Honestly, I wish I did. I was under the impression I shouldn't text her, since she stated that she doesn't like texting since making her resolution. She preferred calls. Consistently, I'd only really text her back when she felt comfortable initiating the conversation. It was how things were, and I had no reason to think they weren't okay. I understand it's my error for not following up, but when someone tells you something is okay and that's what they want, you trust them and that's what you're gonna do. That's what I did, at least. I had no reason to think twice about a voicemail going through and continued with my responsibilities because I know she has been super appreciative of most gestures in the past. This is the first time she ever contradicted herself like this. 4. Were there any signs that something else is going on? When I made this post, I probably would have said no, but now that I'm reading a few comments and considering a few ideas, it's definitely possible. Valerie has bipolar disorder and has been rash with decisions and assumptions in the past. However, she was always really good at catching herself in the moment and asking herself why she felt a certain way. I've never seen her do anything like this in all the time we've been together, and that only confirms for me that it truly is her mental health she is concerned about. Not that I had any questions about that. I believed her about that part from the start. It was just the assumption that I forgot that threw me for a loop. Sorry to the theorists who think she found someone else. While I can't necessarily confirm or deny, she's not that kind of person. But I also didn't think she'd be the kind of person to dump me over text, so F if I know, LMAO. The only thing that happened recently that could have hinted at an underlying issue, at least that I can think of, was the day before her birthday when she initiated a text conversation and I replied with, "Are you excited to spend time with roommate's name tomorrow?" She never replied. I don't know if she can come to the conclusion that I didn't know it was her birthday when the last text I sent was regarding her birthday the next day. And 5, why didn't you reach out to explain that it was a misunderstanding? My first response to her breakup text was verbatim, "Wait, you didn't get my voicemail?" And after that was blocked. I don't know about you guys, and I'd hope not, but getting blocked doesn't mean you reach out further on a different platform. It's a firm no contact boundary that I would be crossing if I pressed further, whether if it's for a valid reason or not. That's all. Thanks for the support and the comments, even the ones that jump to some pretty insane conclusions. Sincerely, a fellow chronic overthinker. The community agrees OP is not overreacting, so now let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. I think this next part requires some background. As I stated in the original post, she suffers from bipolar disorder and was taking incredible care of herself. She regularly went to therapy and was medicated. She was self-aware, cautious when expressing her feelings, and was incredibly honest at catching herself and acknowledging big feelings before acting on them. I always knew she had issues with doing so before we got together, but never went into detail about how bad it got because I never pressed the question. It felt private and I didn't want to pry. She only really vaguely mentioned offhand maybe a dozen times that she used to have some bad episodes. I was just proud because I know it's not easy to reach that level of stability. I was diagnosed with BPD when I was 15, and after a long battle finding the right therapists I practice cognitive and dialectical behavioral therapy with, I am happy to say it works. Though my journey of countless therapy groups and research, I'd learned about bipolar disorder and heard countless accounts of people who suffer from it. And while Valerie and I never really gushed about details regarding our past struggles, we bonded over those moments of feeling alone. As much as I know about bipolar, I don't know how it feels and I can't imagine what she must be going through. Around 3 p.m. today, I got a DM that I wasn't expecting from Alana, Valerie's roommate and best friend since they were in first grade. Here's the summary of the messages. Alana confirmed that Valerie's behavior had been erratic and strange, citing that she sparked a screaming argument, which was very unlike her. It's unclear whether or not she'd been taking her medication like she was supposed to, and stormed out after lashing. Alana assumed this was to stay at her co-worker's house, female 23, as she's done so before and would occasionally go to get a ride from her when she didn't feel like driving. I doubted this as the two aren't very close, but what do I know? Alana initiated a FaceTime call to get our facts together and for support since the situation was stressing her out and her boyfriend, Brian, male 30, had just left for work. He works on a soundstage and is away from his phone for long periods of time. Valerie's mother, Mila, lives in her home country and there's a pretty significant time difference. So we called her at around 8 a.m., her time, when she knew she'd be awake. It's also worth mentioning that Valerie never told Alana that she broke up with me, which I found really odd since the two tell each other everything. Putting aside my feelings about the fact that Valerie lied to me about receiving the voicemail, what's even stranger to me is that she wanted Alana to think everything was fine, lying to her as well and trying to convince her she and I were fine by showing her voicemail. So here's what happened during the call. Alana shared her perspective of events and how the argument occurred. Brian noticed Valerie was quiet and being the kind dude he is, he asked her what was up. She sharply told him not to worry about her and he backed off. Valerie kept instigating though, telling him to mind his business and getting increasingly mad about the fact that everyone's always surveilling her. no idea where this came from, as Brian and Lana and I are all pretty good at respecting her space when she needs it. Brian especially. The guy has a bachelor's in psychology. I've spent a few nights out with him, and bro could pretty much get a violent drunk to apologize to everyone in the bar. However, I don't blame him for not analyzing further. He knew to back off because this was personal to him. I mean, it's his girlfriend's childhood best friend. Alana overheard and asked Valerie why she felt that way, and her reasoning wasn't consistent. At some points during her rant, she felt like she was being smothered, and at other points, that feeling got as bad as, "It's like I'm being watched." As Alana tried to calm her down, she lost it, calling Alana an overbearing "see you next Tuesday." Alana started to cry, and Brian stepped in and calmly told Val to back off because she was still attacking and screaming at Alana. She then used a few choice words I'm not going to repeat about his orientation, and even implied he was probably cheating on Alana with men. Absolutely effing not true. Brian again told her to stop, this time firmly, to which Val said something like, "Why? I don't have your permission to talk to her. She's my best friend." Brian retorted with, "Because you aren't treating her like it." This apparently sent Valerie over the edge, as that's when she started packing her crap and left in her car. I believe Alana, but I can't lie. I can't imagine mild-mannered Valerie acting like this. During all of our time together, she never once even hinted at behavior and feelings like this. It all feels so surreal. I was there on call when Alana called Mila and explained a cleaned-up version of events. Enough to get the point across that we were worried about her and had reasons to be worried about where she was. When Mila asked me if I noticed anything was wrong, I told her about the birthday situation and how she wasn't honest with either me or Alana about what happened and how she felt. Mila apologized, as she definitely heard the concern in my voice, and we clarified that we just wanted to know if she knew or had any information on where Val was, if she heard anything, whether or not she's safe, etc. Thankfully, Mila confirmed that Valerie is currently on a plane to her home country, but emphasized that while she knew Valerie was struggling at times, she didn't know the extent to which it went. I'm sure you could have been able to literally see the relief radiating from us, as our next course of action was legitimately going to be to file a missing persons report. So Valerie is safe and will be home with her mom soon, and that's the best thing for her right now. Mila stated that she's going to look into treatments and have a talk with her once she's home. Thank God, she thanked us for telling her what was going on and for doing what we could for Valerie. And to clarify, Alana, Valerie, and her mother Mila are all from the same small town in their home country and are very close. Alana has even joked offhandedly that Mila is her unofficial godmother and vice versa. So it's absolutely within the parameters of their relationship that Alana comes to her with an issue like this. Even Mila and I have had a good relationship, as she's always liked me. As I'm closing this post, I now have confirmation that Valerie is not only home, but will be admitting herself into a behavioral health unit. As someone who has had to do the same in teenagehood, I'm honestly proud of her for making that choice because it's scary. I just hope that the conditions of the unit actually help her and aren't inhospitable. I don't know what the system is like over there, but I know the conditions in mental institutions here in America aren't necessarily good. Thank you for all your kind words and for keeping me sane during this whole ordeal. I really loved Valerie, and as much as it pains me that our relationship wasn't the bubbles and the BS I was under the impression it was, it's more important that she takes these steps to return to a stable place and be happy. Val, if you're somehow reading this, we all care so deeply about you. You do whatever you need to be the best version of yourself. It's all we want for you, I promise. Good night, everyone. Well, OP, Valerie is definitely going through something, but the good thing is that she made the right choice to go home and get some help. So, on that note, here's wishing all of you the very best. Thanks so much for sharing, OP, and take care. And now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge, and it's by user Gullible Volume 1849. I didn't fight with my neighbor, Mud did. There was a woman living next to my house. She had a big dog. Every morning, she used to let the dog loose near my side of the fence. Slowly, my plants started getting damaged. Soil everywhere, some flowers completely gone. At first, I thought maybe street dogs or kids, but one day, I saw it clearly. Her dog was digging near my plants while she was standing there on the phone. I told her once, very politely. She said, "Dogs do these things," and laughed a little. After that, nothing changed. I fixed the plants again, put a small fence. Still, whenever her dog came out, somehow it ended up damaging my side. She never stopped it, so I stopped saying anything. Instead, I started watering my plants very early in the morning. Extra water. The ground near my fence stayed muddy for hours. After a few days, her dog came again. This time, it slipped in the mud and got fully dirty. She had to clean